Hi and welcome to the Tristan channel. In this video I'll be going over some myths on bisexuality. Myths about those within the bisexual community are often harmful, rooted in stereotypes and terribly inaccurate. Bisexuality is often misunderstood, and because of that, those who identify as bisexuals can face real-life consequences of others' ignorance. As an individual who claims this identity, I agree with the sentiment provided by Robin Oakes and the Bisexual Resource Centre. Here's my current definition of bisexuality. I call myself bisexual because I acknowledge in myself the potential to be attracted romantically and or sexually to people of more than one sex, not necessarily at the same time, not necessarily in the same way, and not necessarily to the same degree. Here's a list of some of those most popular myths about bisexuality you need to stop believing. Myth: if you identify as bi, you're a cheater. This is one of the most common myths about bisexuality. It's likely that this myth stems from the idea that bisexual individuals can't make up their minds one way or the other, and are attracted to anybody and everybody, or just the over-sexualization of this identity in general. Writer Maria Burnham put it best in saying that there is no legitimate study proving that bi people are cheaters, nor would it be easy to obtain accurate results if one was to perform a study. But it appears that this myth is touted in cities all over. Touted in cities all over. Cause a lot of problems when trying to get a relationship as well. Ultimately, cheaters of all identities cheat for various reasons, period. Sexual identity has nothing to do with it. Myth: people who identify as bi are always looking for a threesome. Threesomes and bisexuality aren't directly connected. The Gender Spectrum Collection, one of the main complaints you'll hear from bisexual people is that when it comes to relationships, especially on dating apps, people expect them to want a threesome. But bisexual people don't exist to offer people unique sexual experiences. They've just been over-sexualized in popular culture, and as a result are always viewed in a sexual light. Some bisexual people, just like many other forms of people who are sexuality, are interested in threesomes, but not all of them are, just like not all straight people are interested in the same things. Even within a community, there is diversity. Myth: you have to be attracted 50-50. If you're bisexual, you'll probably had someone ask you what percentage straight, what percentage gay you are. There's this pervasive idea that bisexuals are half one thing and half another, rather than 100% bisexual. But the latter is the truth. Sexuality exists on a spectrum, and one person who is bisexual may feel mostly attracted to men, while another bisexual person may primarily date women. Some bisexual people also feel attraction to people who aren't on the gender binary at all. All of them are equally bisexual. Another myth is bisexual is a label en route to identifying as gay, or a gateway term used for people who are opening up to be gay. Often people see bisexuality as a path to becoming actually gay, but bisexuality is a legitimate identity. Many people identify as bisexual their entire lives, even if some people do go from identifying as bisexual to identifying as gay. It's important to remember that sexuality is fluid, and that it doesn't negate those who identify wholly as bisexual. It's not half an identity, it's complete as it is. Another myth is you're only bi if you're currently partnered with or dating with people who identify with the same gender as you do. Despite bisexuality literally meaning interest in people who have the same gender identity or a different gender identity from you, the assumption is often that if you're a bisexual person who is in a relationship with someone who is a different gender from you, you're actually just straight. Identity isn't dependent upon who you're dating, it's who you are. ultimately up to you to decide and share, no matter who you happen to be dating or not dating, and any given time your identity is still valid. It's still valid. Sorry. Another myth, is bisexuality isn't real. One of the biggest myths about bisexuality is that it isn't real. Many of other myths listed is another one of these myths that is listed in the ones I've said. Into these stereotypes, sorry. After all, if you think bisexual is all about who a person is dating, what percent gay and straight they are, and that it's not just a pit stop on the road to being completely gay, it's not surprising that you'd also think that bisexuality isn't real. But many people identify as bisexuality, with just as many, if not more, members of the LGBTQ community. As many or not more identify as bisexual than identify as gay. Regardless of the statistics, though, bisexual people deserve to have their identities respected. Sorry. Another myth is, it's just a phase. That's a popular one. Some say it's important to note it may be a phase, or might be a phase to some, as their attraction will change over their lifetime. Again, sexuality is on the spectrum, and it's fluid. However, for many people who identify as bisexual or under the bi umbrella, it's not just the case. For many people, it's their entire lives. They'll always be attracted to more than one gender. It does exist. It's a thing in itself. Calling bisexuality a phase risks minimizing someone's identity and potentially suggests it's something to be grown out of. Myth: bisexual people are promiscuous. People start thinking you must have multiple partners if you're attracted to more than one gender, or you're more likely to cheat on your partner because you're attracted to everyone. This just like the cheating myth is exactly what it is. It's a myth. It's not just it's not the case. The same as straight and gay people, we will fall in love with one person potentially and want to be with one person. That doesn't mean we're always looking for the next person or someone of a different gender. Myth. Another myth is bi people are very sexual. Unfortunately, there aren't particularly many well-drawn bi characters in film and TV to help dispel this myth. Over-sexualization, again, is something bisexuals face, and one of the first questions asked when people find out they're bi is, have you ever had a threesome or been involved in a threesome? Me personally, no. Wouldn't say no. If it was a party, no. Some people go, I wish as well. It's like, really? No. Not everyone's that lucky. You know what I mean? Checking. There's a risk over-sexualization means bisexual women in particular are seen as a kind of plaything for straight people. Another myth is bi people are only cisgendered. There's a common misconception that bisexual people are only cisgendered, those whose gender identity is consistent with their birth sex. Whereas some like to use the phrase bi umbrella because there's multiple identities under that as well. When we talk about bisexuality, it's not just about cisgender people. It immediately encompasses non-binary people, trans people, it can be anything. It's all about the people and the attraction to an individual, not what kind of labels they have. Another myth is you have to have equal experience with both genders to be bi. Quite a few bisexual people battle with not being bi enough. Some, for example, like women, have said because the majority of the relationships have been with men, it's almost like they're not really welcome in the LGBT community. If you haven't been with 50-50 partners, then that means you're not really bi enough and don't qualify as being bisexual. Which is unfair because people might go their entire lives without having a relationship with someone of the opposite sex, but they can still be bisexual. It's all about their own identity and who they are. Anyway, There's just a few. I hope that's helped with awareness on bisexuality and those who identify as such. If you like this video, hit the like. And if you haven't already, then please show support by subscribing to the channel and hitting the bell notification so you don't miss out on any future uploads. Until next time, folks, take care and be well. Love you, bye.